All right, so here we are, day 2 of dividing polynomials with long division. We're going to do a few of these, and then I'm going to assign a few, but you don't know which ones yet, so you just got to hang on tight and enjoy the video. If I were just setting the first one up, number 5, I'm not even going to finish this problem, but I will just say that's in standard form, so it'd be n to the second minus 3n minus 21 going in there. The n minus 7 was going in the out. That's nothing different than the previous day's assignment. Now, what is different is what we have over here. That's in descending order. However, there's no middle term. So if we're going like second power, first power, 0 power, there's no first power over here. There's a second and there's a 0, but there's no first power here. So what we have to do is put a placeholder in there. And 6 is the first problem that we're starting with today. So a squared plus 0a minus 28. We have to take into account the fact that there's no n term or a term, if you will. All right, we have this, we have that, we have to make sure we have that as well for long division's sake and synthetic, but we'll get there when we get there. Now, a minus 5 is still going to come out front. So that's where it is. Now, we're still going to do this the exact same way. I just had to make sure you see that, and I'll give you another example here in a second. So, what do you multiply by a to get a squared? Hey, why not? A times a is a squared. A times negative 5, once again, multiplying it by all this, is negative 5a. We subtract. When we subtract 0a, we get a 0 there, 0a minus negative 5a, this is super important, it's going to be a positive 5a. And then we drop down our negative 28. When we do so, what do you multiply by a to get 5a? It's, well, 5, positive 5. So then 5 times a is going to be 5a. And 5 times negative 5 is going to be negative 25. Now, we are not used to seeing this, ladies and gentlemen. They don't perfectly match up. Well, there's a 0 there because we have to, but negative 28 minus negative 25, that's going to be negative 3, which means we have a remainder. This is what you do with a remainder. I'm changing my color up so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. I already have my a plus 5. But then I have to take this into account. That's a negative 3, so I put minus, and I raise the 3 up, over, and that's where I rewrite what we're dividing by, a minus 5. So that's what you do with a remainder. Just like if I had 20 divided by 7, we'd say, oh, 2 times 7 is 14. We subtract, we get 6. So it'd be 2 and 6 sevenths. Similar, all right? Not the same, but similar. Okay, so that's the first example, number 6. Now, on to number 9. All right, now this one's different because we have a 2x instead of just an x. So, the 2x is going to go out front, plus 3, and then inside I have 2x squared minus 17x minus 38. All right, now, first thing we have to figure out, what do you multiply by 2x to get 2x squared? It should just be an x. Once again, that goes above that. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times 3 is 3x. We have to subtract this right now. So 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. Negative 17x, so negative 17x minus 3x should be negative 20x. So negative 20x is going to go right there. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to drop down my negative 38. Okay. Now, what do you multiply by 2x to get negative 20x? That should be negative 10. So negative 10 times 2x is negative 20x. Then negative 10 times 3 is negative 30. I'm going to subtract these now. So negative 20x minus negative 20x is like negative 20x plus 20x. So that's why we get a 0 there, which we have to have. Then we have negative 38 minus negative 30, subtracting negative, adding a positive, so that should be negative 8. So we're ready to write our correct answer here, our quotient, if you will. X minus 10 is what we got up here, but we have to also include a remainder, which is minus 8, and put that over 2x plus 3. So that's going to be your quotient to number 9. On number 10, yes, we're doing this one as well. We notice that we just go from x squared to the constant here, which means we have to take into account our missing first degree term there. So I'm going to put 42x squared plus 0x, that takes care of the placeholding, and then minus 33. 7x plus 7 goes on the outside. So now that I have it set up correctly, what do you multiply by 7x to get 42x to the second? That would be 6x. So 6x times 7x, which is what we want, is 42x squared. And then 6x times 7 is plus 42x. So we subtract this. When we do that, we end up with negative 42x. That gives me 0 there, but 0 minus 42x is negative 42x. And then I drop down my negative 33. Once you do that, now you got to start thinking about the next part, which is what do you multiply by 7x to get 42x? Some people might say 6x. You would be wrong. It's got to be a negative 6x. So negative 6, oh, not 6x, goodness sakes, negative 6. It's going to be a negative 6. So negative 6 times 7x is negative 42x, and then negative 6 times 7 is negative 42. We're going to subtract. Very careful here. That's where I get my 0. And then if we have negative 33 minus negative 42, that'd be negative 33 plus 42, which is going to be a positive 9, which means here is my quotient, my solution to this division problem. It's going to be 6x minus 6 plus 9 up, 7x plus 7 on bottom. So that takes care of that third problem there. Now, we're going to skip all the way to number 14. Okay, now this involves four terms. So here's what we have to worry about. We got a p to the third, we have p squared, we have p to the first, and a constant, so we're good there. P minus 5 goes there, everything else goes inside. Got to write real small in this one. Okay, now I'm going to try to make this fit, and we're going to hope it does. What do you multiply by p to get p to the third? P squared. P squared times p is p to the third. P squared times negative 5 is negative 5p squared. So we subtract. When you do that, you end up with a negative 5p squared here. That's a 0. And we drop down the plus 20p. Now we're talking. What do you multiply by p to get 5p squared? Or negative 5p squared. It should be negative 5p. Negative 5p times p is negative 5p squared. Negative 5p times negative 5 is a plus 25p. Once again, we subtract this entire binomial. Got my 0 there. 20p minus 25p is negative 5p. I have to drop down a positive 26 here. All right, so now, what do you multiply by p to get negative 5p? That should just be a negative 5. So negative 5 times p is negative 5p. Negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25. When we subtract, got my 0 there, 26 minus 25 is just 1. So small remainder here. We'll have p squared minus 5p minus 5 plus, since that's a positive 1 here, 1 over p minus 5. So that should be our quotient, our solution to number 14. More problems to come.